If you thought that things couldn't get any worse for Donald Trump, I have some good news for you, because they can, and they have, courtesy of his wife, or his wife. I'm unsure of what's in Melania's contract anymore, but what I am sure of is that she has just made life so much worse for Donald Trump in a way that I thought was unthinkable. This is Donald Trump's nightmare, courtesy of Melania, that we are going to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into how Melania is bringing the end possibly to the Trump presidency with some huge and shocking breaking news, I want to start with the other biggest fear of Donald Trump's that relates to this Melania news, and that is the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, which Thomas Massey shed some important light on right here.
So he's calling it the Schumer shutdown, but I'm calling it the Epstein recess. He's not only are we shut down, we're in recess, and that's unconventional, unprecedented in the 13 years I've been in Congress. The other thing that Speaker Johnson established a precedent on himself. Until Speaker Johnson had been Speaker, I never had observed this, but he swore into members during a pro forma session. They happened to be Republicans, and now he's has no real good reason for why he's not swearing in the Democrat during a pro forma session. Okay, to the Epstein thing. One of my favorite memes on the internet, well, before I get there, let me set it up. The president himself has called the Epstein files a hoax. And we know it's not a hoax. My press conference with Ro Khanna involved almost a dozen survivors of Epstein's sex trafficking ring. And they were there to tell us there are other men who they were trafficked to. And they've together, collectively, they know what some of those names are. In fact, through their lawyer has informed me there are at least 20 names, and he described their professions, which I said to the FBI director, Kash Patel, when he was there. But getting back to one of my favorite memes on the internet was, it's too bad Epstein killed himself before he realized this was a hoax.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a hoax, why are they resisting releasing the files?
This is the Epstein shutdown, not only because this shutdown has given Donald Trump some distance from having to do his job, literally and figuratively. The government isn't open, and so there are fewer reporters covering what's happening in the day-to-day of the Epstein scandal as they focus on the fact that everything's falling apart and Congress also can't act, meaning that Mike Johnson is refusing to swear in still elect Adelita Grijalva, preventing her from being the 218th signature on that Epstein files discharge petition. But Donald Trump has also gotten some physical distance away from the country, running away on a series of state visits, the first president to ever do that during a shutdown. It is so bad, in fact, Donald Trump trying to distance himself from the Epstein files, that now even Fox is confronting Republicans, confronting Mike Johnson over his refusal to swear in Grijalva, as we can see right here before we get into how Melania's big bombshell relates to all of this Epstein updates.
Seated Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva. There's now a lawsuit about this. They say there's no dispute about her election or her qualifications, and add this. Speaker Johnson wishes to delay seating Ms. Grijalva to prevent her from signing a discharge petition that would force a vote on the release of the Epstein files and or to strengthen his hand in the ongoing budget and appropriations negotiations. Why hasn't she been sworn in? What's your response to the lawsuit?
All this is so ridiculous, and we could take 30 minutes and talk about all this, but Rep-elect Grijalva will be sworn in as soon as we get back to regular session. Remember, it's the Democrats who shut the Congress down, so we can't do that.
Can you not swear her in, though, when you're not operating in regular?
There is a precedent for doing a pro forma session swearing in, but we're not engaging in regular business right now, and what I'm doing is following the Pelosi precedent.
Is Mike Johnson really still telling this same old tired lie that it is a Schumer shutdown, that it's a Jeffrey shutdown? Donald Trump has quite literally run away from the country, taking state visits, being the first president to ever do so in the middle of a shutdown, because he wants to run away from all his problems. The economic turmoil that he has caused, of course, Donald Trump wants to run away from the Epstein files, and Mike Johnson has really helped him do that, even though Fox is now asking about it. But someone who hasn't helped Donald Trump in avoiding conversation around Epstein is now his wife, Melania. Because after Donald Trump's biographer Michael Wolff was talking about Melania's relationship to Epstein, she sued Michael Wolff. That has all backfired. Yes, Donald Trump and his family, the most litigious in history it seems, are now getting a taste of their own medicine. It is bringing this Epstein scandal to the forefront again, and it's about to cost Donald Trump in a major way previously unthinkable. Michael Wolff launches bombshell lawsuit against Melania Trump over Epstein. The best-selling author Michael Wolff is suing Melania Trump in an unprecedented court case after she threatened to sue him for $1 billion. The author, who is the co-host of the Daily Beast hit podcast Inside Trump's Head, is accusing the First Lady of launching an assault on his free speech and trying to stifle legitimate inquiry into Jeffrey Epstein. The case is the first time Melania Trump has been sued as First Lady and appears to be the first time a president's wife has been subject of court action. Wolff is also asking the court for permission to question Melania and Donald Trump under oath about their dealings with Epstein. Wolff's attorney filed the case in the New York State Court late Tuesday after the First Lady's legal team sent him a letter threatening a lawsuit for over $1 billion in damages. Melania accused Wolff of making false, defamatory, and lewd statements in a letter from her attorney, saying that he had made extremely salacious allegations that have reached tens of millions of people worldwide. The letter from Brito demanded that he retract the statements, including that Epstein had claimed Melania first slept with Trump on the late pedophile's private jet, or face being sued for at least $1 billion. Wolff is using so-called anti-SLAPP laws for the case. The laws ban powerful people from using legal action to shut down journalism, which are known as strategic laws against public participation. Wolff said bringing the case was a difficult decision and said, "I do not want to be in a lawsuit, but I am also a journalist and have been one for over 40 years. I've written 4 books about Donald Trump and have never been sued. Mrs. Trump's threatened lawsuit is what lawyers call a strategic lawsuit against public participation, a SLAPP suit. Its purpose was to intimidate and silence me, as Donald Trump has done to so many news organizations and reporters. Fortunately, New York has an anti-SLAPP law. This law protects people sued for making statements involving matters of public concern. And in order to avail myself of this protection, I choose to begin an action against her, rather than have her threats hanging over my head indefinitely." Wolff is asking the court to shut down Melania Trump's threats and pay punitive damages, and to allow him to question her and her husband under oath about their relationships with Epstein. These threatened legal actions are designed to create a climate of fear in the nation so that people cannot freely or confidently exercise their First Amendment rights, he says in the suit. The threats are also intended to shut down legitimate inquiry into the Epstein matter, which the Trumps and their collaborators have at every turn sought to impede and suppress. The lawsuit alleges that Melania's threat of legal action against the author is intended to impede and chill future reporting and writing that Mr. Wolff has committed to doing regarding Epstein, Mr. Trump, and Mrs. Trump. In many respects, that is the primary purpose of these claims, the legal papers say. Wolff alleges that the libel allegations Melania has made against him lack substantial basis in law or in fact, and cannot overcome constitutional protections. The suit adds Mrs. Trump's claims are made for the purpose of harassing, intimidating, punishing, or otherwise maliciously inhibiting Mr. Wolff's free exercise of speech. Michael Wolff has done incredible reporting that we have used and covered on this show again and again as it regards Trump, Melania, and of course Jeffrey Epstein. And we are going to continue to. And he should continue to fight back against this regime. And the opportunity to question Trump and Melania under oath about Epstein would be a game changer. And just that also hanging over Donald Trump, the press should ask him about it. They should ask about this lawsuit. They should ask why Melania is trying to intimidate journalists out of covering her relationship to Jeffrey Epstein. But they likely won't, because Donald Trump will then attack their media organizations, as last night we saw him say that Seth Meyers is committing a crime by giving him 100% negative coverage. Which I always think to myself when Donald Trump says something like that, what is the positive part of this administration that you'd like us to cover? It's like prices are skyrocketing. There are no trade deals. There are no peace deals. There's actually more war. You bombed Iran. You're blowing up boats in international waters, killing people indiscriminately. You don't care, violating international law. You're a buffoon. You're wrecking the White House. You're wrecking the economy. You're wrecking all of our mental health. Like, what do you want us to praise you for? I don't really get it at this point. But I also think that it's important in this moment to talk about the issue undergirding all of this, which is free speech. And for so long, people have said that progressives or liberals or people on the left more broadly who condemn certain words, phrases, actions, behaviors, whatever it may be, that people consider, preachy sometimes, or they want to call it cancel culture, that has been the big shadow over speech in this country. Well, this one's a lot bigger, and it has a military force behind it. And Donald Trump has literally used his goons to throw people in the back of black vans, people who weren't wearing badges, ship them to different states for calling out this regime, for saying that Israel is committing a genocide, for saying anything that makes Donald Trump unhappy. And that is a much bigger attack on free speech to me than I think maybe MAGA getting called out for using slurs or being racist or just being weird, because these people are weird. It's just true. Donald Trump doesn't have his priorities straight. Actually, he does. His priorities are to make you scared and attack you. That's exactly what President Obama said right here.
We've got masked ICE agents pulling in unmarked vans and grabbing people off the streets, including U.S. citizens. Don't vote. Vote. Grabbing them on the suspicion that they don't look like real Americans. We've got Health and Human Services Secretary who opposes proven science and then peddles quack medicine. We've got a top White House aide who calls Democrats, the whole Democratic Party, domestic extremists. And then we've got some poor labor economist who got fired for accurately reporting bad job numbers that Trump didn't like. It's like every day is Halloween.
We cannot let the intimidation continue. We are certainly going to call it out on this show, and if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Also, we got my skeleton a tie. I've seen some people say leave the skeleton behind or keep. We're going to figure it out. I think he's a good addition. I think this is just kind of how I feel inside in these trying times. But let me know and keep on fighting. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.